And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, a.k.a. Ben Real Verse World. Flyest dude in a white t-shirt with the Black with No Cream logo on it, as well as the Black with No Cream mug that he's holding right now. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to us. Thank you for listening. Today's special guest, Cal Shapiro, the singer of Timeflies, and also the new... Well, I guess it's not like he joined another group. He's now doing like a solo project underneath his name, Cal. And he just dropped his first project, and it's called The Identity Crisis. They have 2 songs that just came out on it, and it's booming. It's his first step into being like the solo new venture. But the group Timeflies that he's been a part of for so long, it connected to me early in Iowa. So if you don't know my story, you'll hear about it throughout this podcast, but it's crazy to hear how Cal influenced me. We got to open up for one of his early shows in Des Moines, Iowa. We did 3 actually back to back, and they were crazy. They were sold. I didn't know who they were. I didn't understand it. And I started doing my research, and I think they're the pioneer of creating weekly series on YouTube, because they had a series called Timeflies Tuesdays, and they would drop that shit every Tuesday, and they would remix songs and remake certain songs that were trending, and throw their spin on it and rap over it and sing over it. And Cal's a good looking dude, so all the chicks would go crazy for their shit. So when we played for him, when we opened for him, and I was doing all the hip hop shit, I didn't really get what it was. And when we went out, there was like a jam-packed room full of, it was like 98% chicks going crazy, and I never felt like more of a rock star in my life. And so that was the beginning of it. But Cal always opened his arms to us and helped guide me in my music career and creative career early on. Like, he didn't have to, he just for some reason did. Gave me his number early on, and we stayed in touch, and anytime they come back to Iowa, we'd always open for him. It was always really cool. But he definitely was like a low-key mentor to me, and I confess that in this interview. So I'm glad we got to do this and have him on the podcast, because the dude's incredibly talented, super talented songwriter, rapper, singer. The guy, he can really do all this shit on the fly. So yeah, you're gonna hear all about it in this podcast. And if you haven't heard his music, definitely go on Spotify or whatever and download it. The song My Brother that he just did, we actually did a breakdown on the YouTube channel, on the Black with No Cream YouTube channel, breaking down with the director and the VFX artist, the pre-production, post-production, as well as like the VFX. So we made 2 videos. They're out now, so you can check them out. Just kind of giving you an insight of what goes into making creativity with Cal, because the dude he can sing, so you got to have some visuals for that shit. And we break it down. So anyway, you can have all that. And if you're new to Black with No Cream, you can join our creative collective that we have on Facebook. It is free, BWNC.com/join. You can sign up there. Tons of creators from all over the world sharing their ideas, tips, tricks, all that stuff, with the one goal of becoming the illest motherfucking content creator on earth. And that's it. I recorded all of this moments ago and forgot to run the video, so I had to redo it, and I'm bummed about it because the last one felt good. But we got this one in the bag. If you're part of Patreon, thank you for supporting us on Patreon. If you're not and you would like to financially back this podcast, we are waiting for you. Patreon.com/Black with No Cream. We have amazing perks in there for creators specifically. You can hop in on our Discord, which is a private Discord organized group chat. We have bonus podcast episodes every month. We have live streams every month. You have the How to Charge a Client guide, all kinds of amazing perks if you become a Patreon member. So thank you for doing that. You're helping us keep these lights on in this motherfucker and continue to make these amazing podcast episodes. So without further ado, let's hop into this Cal episode right motherfucking now.
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time, you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live?
Yeah.
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to...
Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, a.k.a. Ben Real Verse World. Today with my boy, Cal. Cal's on the podcast today, everyone. Round of applause. It's just me and Cal clapping. What's up, bro?
So much.
Yeah?
Is that a normal response to what's up, bro? What's up, dude? I feel great.
What's
How are
up,
you?
dude?
How are you?
I'm really good. You're in the Black with No Cream headquarters. How's it feel?
Unbelievable, especially because I do drink coffee black with no cream, but you made this thing strong.
Yeah, it's dark. It's that Dutch bro shit.
I got no snare. Where's my audio?
What, you got nothing?
Nothing.
You hear nothing right now?
I hear nothing.
Oh shit, hold on.
I hear the sound of silence. No, keep this rolling. This is gold. I'm sure the volume's just down.
No, it ain't, because it's the splitter. It's a splitter going to my thing. Oh, you know what? You ain't plugged in, bro.
You know what, dude? I bet
Slapping
this
that-
has to go somewhere.
You know,
Only I
over
worked
here.
in, like something that involved audio.
Look
then
at how
I would know
ugly
how to
this
do
shit is. Damn it.
All right, run it under.
Hold on, we'll get this figured out.
Gold. This is gold.
Hand it to me real quick.
Teamwork.
Yep.
That's a reach around for those keeping score.
And
at
now
home.
you hear it. So this
Oh.
whole time we were talking before we started the podcast, you weren't ever hearing me.
No.
So when I said I sound dope as fucking here, and you just didn't
I was
respond.
like, man, this guy really likes the sound of his voice. It's unbelievable.
All right, let's do this. So, when was it when you killed that guy?
The murder? Or
Yeah, the murder.
Oh, the murder.
the unreported murder.
Yeah, that's alleged murder for those.
We already called it
Keeping
that this
track.
was going to be fully off topic all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of ADHD in here.
Yeah. So let's.
But as I said, I think it's a superpower. It's what drives us.
the ADHD or the murdering?
A little bit of both. But the ADHD, because your ability to jump around and do things is what makes you creative.
That's very true.
Don't let people tell you no.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to all my ADHD. I've never. Are you diagnosed?
When I want Adderall.
Right. Okay. All right. So Cal, we go back pretty fucking long. Like I've known you for almost like 8 years or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
For people who don't know who you are, break it down in a nutshell. I'll pre-record some intro to this shit, but just let them know.
What's
who
it
you
going to
are.
be like? Is it going to be like...
It'll be fine. It'll be me.
The British, like, and he sold his house for a whopping. No. Haven't owned a house. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
Lifestyles
I
of the
do.
Rich? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's all the new Netflix shows.
Who am I? I don't know. I'm a musician. I'm an artist. I'm a songwriter. I'm a very positive person. I'm an optimist. Yeah, I make music and connect with fans and write songs for a living, and I love it.
You're talented as fuck, bro.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate
You've been
that.
talented.
Thank you.
And just so people understand, you were in a group called Timeflies.
Yes.
Just recently, both of you guys started doing solo
Yeah.
projects.
I wouldn't say past tense. I think Time Flies is like...
Well, I'm just saying now
Yeah.
there's also Timeflies plus these new solo ventures.
We're on like, let's go explore our creative avenues.
Right.
And so I have been dreaming up this solo project for a while,
Yeah.
which is just Cal, which is my name. It's fully it's just about authenticity and being real. And kind of saying this here first, but it's going to be, the longer project is called The Identity Crisis. And
Right.
it's just an exploration of who I am and what's got me here, and just fully, I want you to hear the music and not need to read a bio or go somewhere to check something out, because it's like, oh, I know. I
Right.
just heard it. He just told me.
Through really, really good music.
Yeah.
So right now you've released 2 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Those will be on that project,
Right.
which is, do you know how long it's going to be, or is that too early to talk about this? Mind you, this won't come out for a couple weeks.
No, it's there is a set number right now, but I just keep writing songs, so I'm like,
You're still writing the songs right now?
yeah.
Oh, shit.
But like, there's the number. I have the songs, but
Right.
then I'm always trying to like, what if I came with this angle and that went before this one? So
Yeah.
the thing that's cool about these is they're like living, breathing things, and especially being an independent artist in this time in music history, is that I don't need to have like, the album needs to be delivered July 31st
Yeah.
before we can go, you know?
Right.
Like, I can just, like, I have come up with this plan, and right now it's a duality thing where I have 2 songs being released at once. The first release was My Brother in SoCal, where you get like 2 sides of me. So I want to keep doing that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So, but it will be an album?
Yeah.
Okay, tight. Shit. The first 2 songs hit, man. They're fucking fire. I'm excited for you.
Dude.
It's cool because, like you just said, you're an independent artist right now. With what, like a distribution deal or something?
Yeah.
So, but you've done it all. Like you guys, through Timeflies, you've experienced being signed. Who are you guys signed to?
Island Def Jam.
Yeah, so you've been signed.
Yeah.
You did that whole rodeo. You've toured literally everywhere.
Yeah.
You guys went overseas, right?
Oh, yeah. Everywhere.
So you've experienced a ton of shit, and then on top of it, being a songwriter and working with different artists, there's like so many different things you can. I mean, we're gonna talk about so much shit. But what I love is that you were the first person to ever put me on. Okay, straight up. Cal
That's
came
friendship
through.
right there.
It is, but you didn't know it at first. First,
But then I knew it.
Yeah, a dude and I would hit me up one time, and he goes, "Yo, do you guys want to open up these 3 shows when we were doing all the rap shit? Schooled was our group name, and shout out to Bye. And he hits us up, and he's like, "Do you want to open these 3 shows?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And I like click on it, and I'm like, "What is this internet? Like, this is like a whole new wave of like singing, rapping over
Yeah.
like popular records, you know, the first whatever." And I'm like and I'm all like rap.
Yeah.
Like, let's see what this is about. And then the shit sold out like immediately. It was like a 600 cat venue.
Yep.
I think the first one in Iowa City, and that one sold out. And I was like, what? And they already put us on the bill, and I'm like, holy shit! Like we hadn't played like sold out shows yet. You know what I mean? Damn. So then we go and we end up doing 3 shows with you guys in Iowa City, Des Moines, and Illinois somewhere random.
Yeah.
But right away, what was the illest shit was when we played in Des Moines. I think it was the first night.
Yeah.
We were in the venue. We like sound checked and everything. You guys show up, you know, as you should later than us, and then but you guys walk in. But you guys came straight to us, and you walked up and you're like, "What's up? I'm Cal. This is Rez. Blah blah. What's going on?" And we just started shooting the shit. And you guys were like the nicest guys. But I'm like, "Yo, these dudes have millions and millions of plays all over YouTube. Like, this is their show. Like, they I don't even know if they knew anything about us. But you guys just walked up and were like the coolest people to us,
dude.
Which could have been like." It could have easily been that, and then it was done. But then after the show, you guys were like, "Hey, come to the hotel. We're gonna do a music video. Come through and whatever. We're shooting a music video there." Then, yo, at the next show, it was like, "What's up, guys?" But you guys just stayed in touch always. And then after those 3 shows, like you gave me your number.
Stayed in touch,
we stayed in touch, and I was like, to tell you, like being from Iowa and being a musician who had no outlet, had no resources, didn't know anything except for what was online and what I could learn that way. You connecting me and telling me and giving me all this inside stuff like, yo, do this, or this is how we do our shows, or just being able to stand on the side of the stage and watch. That shit, like the inspiration for us, like back home.
Dude. Well, first of all, that's dope. I love hearing that. Pat on the back to younger me.
Man. Right.
But the fact that you took that and were like, that's dope, let me do that, and then bang,
crazy, right?
You're doing that for everyone, is like, that's how it should be. And I remember, you know, one of our early shows being a radio show, or, you know, you're opening for the biggest people in the name. If anyone's ever been to a radio show, like a Jingle Ball or whatever it is, where you have like 15 artists and each of them is going to perform 2 songs in like the backstage area, you do meet some cool ass people,
right?
But a lot of people are like holier than thou, like, you'll see me when I'm on stage, you know, stuff like that. And I just always still do think the music thing is such a gift. Like, I love traveling, one of my favorite things. You're telling me that the like hardest piece of work of being in music is that you have to travel and play shows for the fan. Like, that's so fucking cool. So being able to connect with you, can I curse on this podcast?
Yeah, you can say whatever.
Okay, dope. So being able to do that and connect with you, and then, you know, anytime we had something coming up in Iowa, I would always hit you up and be like, yeah, you around? We actually, do you remember waiting out that tornado warning? We had to like pull over and then hide in that hotel.
That's that Iowa shit, man.
That's Iowa life 101.
Were you guys staying the night that night, or were you trying to leave and you couldn't? Cause
there's that hotel with like the dope steakhouse attached.
Yeah, we were just chilling out in the lobby. I brought Chuck up, and I don't know who else came with me. Riley, maybe? I don't know, but we all just came and chilled with you, and there was literally a tornado. We drove home, and that shit was terrifying. Like, because it wasn't really the tornado, but it was like so much debris and shit flying all over the road. But we're like, we wanted just to stay as long as you guys wanted to hang out, because we're like, yo, let's please, like, whatever we can learn, like, right now, let's do it. And you were like talking about songwriting and all this different shit. You're like, yo, honestly, if you guys are making music and you want to send it to us, like, it doesn't like, we can help shop it or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is the coolest shit ever. Like, even from show standpoint, I could talk about this all day because it shit blew my mind. I was just thinking about this. 2 things. Show standpoint, like, we went from cabled mics, I think like the first show, to somehow buying cabled or wireless mics, just because of how you guys performed with wireless mics and being able to run the stage. And me and Bai were sitting there, and the first show is like the funniest shit. By the end of the show, our cables were so wound up that we were like just rapping by each other because there's no room. But I'm like, what's going on? And then I see you, and you're able to go all over the place. I'm like, that makes sense. And then you have in-ears, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So I invested in in-ears. There's so much shit that like taught us how to be like professional musicians, because you guys did stage life all the time, and we didn't get to do it as often. So we just like sat there and studied every single thing. As soon as the show started, like, you know, most people that I've seen do it, like all the other local artists would just be like mingling in the crowd, trying to talk to chicks and all this shit. And we're just like zoned in, like, all right, what are they doing that's working, and how can we emulate that shit? Like, it was the best practice, bro. It was I love that, man. It's crazy, right? I love that. And it's like, that's what think how many people are trying to figure out how they're going to do a video treatment or shoot their thing. And they're just like, I wish I had tried and failed at this 1,000 times before I had to show up tomorrow and do this, so I knew it. But you, not that you failed, but you've done that. Failed a million times. You've had people who have done that. They've had friends who have done that, and now this community is like, this is what it should be. Yeah, this is what it should be, because the monster labels and all that stuff, those people are always going to be trying to maximize on how do we be the most successful, how do we make money on this. Right. But the rest of us who are just creatives, it's like, how can we not only like be as inspired as possible and create as much as possible, but how can we inspire those people who are
the word below us isn't right. It's
Right.
not below us. It's who aren't here yet,
Nah,
who haven't
yeah.
had the opportunity to have the hours. How can we show them through the shit we've gone through and help them get here? So I
love
think
that.
that's the whole game.
Yeah, it's. I
love
remember we met like last year or some shit. Where we go? Sweet Greens or something. But we remember we got lunch and we were talking about it, and I was telling you about.
Sweet Green sponsor?
I wish. What did we do? We went Chipotle. I don't know what the fuck we're at. I got so many sponsors. Chipotle. We're at
Oh
Sweet
my
Green.
God,
We're at In-N-Out. McDonald's. Shout out. How do you think we pay for this rent, bro?
Yeah, right, exactly.
But we were at something and we were talking. I was telling you about this idea, and then you were talking about your express for like wanting to do this with musicians as well, like trying to find a way to help elevate.
It was at that mall. Westfield Century City. Shout out to the
Shout out
sponsor.
Westfield. Yeah,
Appreciate what you
Gang
do.
go.
Yeah. This part of the show is brought to you by Westfield
By
Century
everyone
City.
on earth.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywhere you can eat food. We've secured the bag. But I remember us talking about it, and you seem so passionate about that as well, like finding a way to elevate. I mean, you guys have done everything. Anytime you dropped a project, it was like you guys were on the radio. Like
Right.
to drive through my hometown and hear my homie on the fucking 92.3, which I didn't know any other artists on there. Now it's weird because I go home and now I'm like, oh shit, I kind of like know that person or whatever. But at the time, I'm like, I don't know nobody. And you're started a career through YouTube and got on the fucking radio. And that shit is crazy. But you guys have had so many different types of rollouts where you'll partner
Right.
with different, you know what I mean? And so you have so much experience in that lane where you can help guide. I think you have a lot to offer,
Right.
which is why I'm excited to do this podcast, because you can just like, gems all day.
Jams all day.
But we can talk about this shit forever. But before we do, I kind of want to share your story, because I feel like how you can adjust, you can yank this thing
I'm
around.
just going to pull it around every which way.
Yeah,
That's
do
part
so.
Part of the game.
But like getting here, musically, like there's got to be a start to this shit, right?
Yeah.
So how did it all come to be, like as far as making music at an early age? Were you always musical, or?
So I always loved music, and my dad was a little bit tone deaf, and I could always he would play like a classic rock song and they'd be singing the thing, and I would jump the gun to like the next note and like be humming along, and he's like, have you heard the song before? And it just like the melodies made sense to me, and I just became such a classic rock fan. I like Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Sometimes Young, and James Taylor, and Cat Stevens, and then I got into Yes, and just like I loved harmonies and harmonizing and finding alternate melodies, to the point where like I couldn't remember the original melody because I was doing other stuff. So I was always like a music fan, but I was shy, and I would, I was a professional shower singer, but
Right.
like wasn't doing it, out and about. I got into I acted in like Shakespeare growing up.
Really?
I loved Shakespeare.
For what, your school or like a local play?
It was
type
like
thing?
a local like group.
Yeah.
And I just like saw it one time, and I was like, man, Shakespeare is crazy. I read one of the plays, and then was like, this guy's writing is just so cool.
Yeah.
And so it got into that, and then it got me into like, I did their only senior year they offered this musical, and I did the senior musical, and I got like the lead and sang in that thing, and I was like, all right, I like this.
But what,
This
were
is
you
fun.
terrified going into that? Because if you're
my
you're
God.
the kid that's in the shower,
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
ham.
I was terrified, but also when I say I got into classic rock, yes, like I skipped like the pop punk emo phase, but I went from classic rock to like addicted to hip hop,
Right.
and it was like Jungle Brothers, Tribe Called Quest, Pharoah Monch just blew my mind. Probably biggest hip hop inspiration, just because the way he would weave between singing and rapping and like throwing his voice and changing things. I was like, damn, I want to do this. And then LimeWire, those like old download things.
Ripping everything.
I ripped.
I'm tilting this, sorry.
There was a 7-minute freestyle by Jay-Z and Big L.
Right.
Big L, another huge inspiration,
Yeah.
same with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
And I memorized the whole thing. And I remember at a party, these kids were freestyling, and I dropped some of the lines that I'd memorized from this, and then just started freestyling because I had the cadences and like rhythms in my brain. And I was like, holy shit, I'm good at this.
Well, it's so interesting that you were already like interested in the words of Shakespeare, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, the art of forming those sentences, and then being able to hear it in hip hop, which I feel like is
Right.
They're bouncing between words and finding ways to rhyme different things. Like it makes total sense that you'd kind of gravitate towards that shit.
Man, I just love freestyling. You get to a party and people are like circling up, and it's like, my name is Matt, I wear a hat, and you're like,
You're like, damn.
better be getting me know, somebody,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, okay,
Right.
So I was just like,
Oh, you came in with the fast flow?
I came with just the twister.
That's-
Fire, yeah. Yeah, exactly. There were no words attached to it. It was just gibberish.
But that's kind of like how you guys kind of exploded, because you did Timeflies Tuesdays, which I feel like set the precedent. All right, first off, let me ask this question. Is Timeflies Tuesdays inspired by something? Did someone else do something like this weekly reoccurrence?
No.
Because I feel like now you guys set the tone for, we had Our Way Mondays because we wanted to be like you.
The amount of people who have come up to me, people who I really look up to, who's like, hey, I'm Cal, nice to meet you. And they were like, I stole your marketing plan for like it was a marketing plan.
It was genius.
Of course, looking back, it's a brilliant marketing plan. But like when you start it, it's just like, yo, what if we time flies that has alliteration with the word Tuesdays? What if we did Timeflies Tuesdays and like fucked around in the studio?
Right.
So it wasn't this like, looking back, yeah, it was awesome. But the amount of people from like Lil Dicky to Stud Sunday, Stud Days to like people who just, made that their thing. And it's kind of like, it was really, really hard. We did it 68 weeks in a row to start. And it was like, how do we make original music while we're doing this? And like to the fans, we wanted to make it look like, yo, what do you mean? This is 3 minutes of your life. You put on a beat, you freestyle and you do it. But it's like, you got to find a studio, you got to get a mic, you got to freestyle, you got to then edit all the stuff. Rez's got to make the beat. Then you have to get all the footage from the video. You got to chop that up and you got to come up with the concept for it. And then it's Tuesday again. And it's like,
that's so true. That's so, fuck, dude. It's like so stressful. I don't think fans definitely, and you see it now more than ever because I feel like everyone's just so used to just receiving new.
But the content churn, that's what I was going to say, is like back then it was like, all right, we can't keep doing this. And I remember, not to name drop, but we had a meeting with Pharrell wanted to meet with us, and I had one of those things where you ever been like so late that you have like the late sweats?
Yes.
Like you're like, oh my God, I'm fucking late.
Yes.
I was late to meet, like, I was taking the subway in New York City to where we were supposed to have dinner, and it was one of those days where the subway wasn't, like, running, and I had to take a cab. I showed up 40 minutes late to meet
to a Pharrell meeting?
Unbelievable. But he said this line where he was like, we're stopping Timeflies Tuesdays because, or we're going to do them, like, once a month or whatever because we want to, like, make our original music as incredible as possible, and it's impossible right now.
Yeah, you can't.
And he was like, I just feel like you guys built a church, and everyone loves going to this church. Don't take Sunday away from them.
Damn.
They like going, they show up every time. Don't take that away from them. And it was like, we had already kind of made up our mind, but it was like, who has Pharrell tell them something? He doesn't listen to them, but we did. And I do look back to that as like, we should have kept that going. But we also...
So you stopped even though Pharrell told you don't?
He said, keep that going every Tuesday, but we had a certain like quality standard that we wanted to keep up.
Yeah.
And we could have done something that was like a...
way quick version.
Just like one verse, whatever.
Yeah.
But we liked that, the thing that really messed us up was we had this show, I think it was in Dayton, Ohio, Timothy's Bar and Grill, great show. But after the show ended, we were like, taking pics with fans, signing merch and stuff. And one of our Timeflies Tuesdays came on the speakers. And we're like audio junkies. And we're like, this isn't mixed. It sounds like shit.
Oh, right. You can hear it.
Then it took all right, this already takes 6 days to or this takes like all night or 6 days to make this sound like a professional recording. People are going to be playing it off YouTube. The biggest streaming service is YouTube. They're just playing this directly through the speakers.
Right.
So it just made it harder. So we said, no, we'll do once or twice a month, which we did. And we were able to make great and original music because of it. And we were able to like get our albums out and do that. So I don't know, looking back, if I would have done something differently, but looking at the way people release content now, which is just like daily,
crazy,
nonstop, it's like, man, what was I kind of not complaining, but what was I thinking was so difficult? That's just what it is.
Well, I think tech has evolved so quickly.
That's
like
true.
People, you guys were audio junkies. I think people get us. It's crazy. We just watched a bunch of fucking artists the other day where we're just like looking at this and we're just like, how did this work? You know what I mean? Because it's definitely the shit, especially the hip hop shit of it. It's like you hear these people just pop up and they record something and they literally do like one pass, don't even do ad libs.
That's what I love about hip hop, and I love about music right now, is that like we had to find our room that had the C12 or the EM251. I was talking about that Telefunken mic, but like this mic is incredible. Anyone at home, get
for
this.
$400, you could be
get
tracking
this
with
mic.
this.
You can find any plugin that has like the best vocal producers in the world, their SM version, that has like all the settings for you, and it sounds unbelievable. And what I love about music now is during that time when we were out, it was like the Katy Perry, Dr. Luke phase of like, the chorus isn't big enough, throw in 78 more vocals and
really make
like
it huge,
really blast it in your face. And then I feel like Lord came with the "We'll Never Be Royal" and this super minimal sound, and everyone was like, "It doesn't have to sound like that.
Yeah.
It sound, and so like now your favorite hip hop tracks might sound dirty or lo-fi or all these different things. It's just, we're in such a cool time where just create on anything. Sing it on your iPhone mic. Who gives a shit? Just get it out.
Yeah, people are doing it. But I think it also makes it, like, at the time it wasn't as easy, so it was difficult to be able to be comfortable with releasing something you're not that proud of because of the time that you can only spend on it, and you're trying to do original music so you can bust out as your own artist. It's like, this is your leapfrog into the, you know, I'm an original artist game, but it's hard to get away from it because fans also are like, we just want to hear you rap over something that's relevant. You know what I mean?
The thing I'll say about what you just said, and I think this will speak to a lot of you guys out there. What's up? Hey guys and girls. We as artists have a tendency to want it to be perfect before it comes out.
Yeah.
And when I look back at the things I've done, the imperfections put the biggest smile on my face. Like the things that weren't perfect are great and usually are even received better. And we have a tendency as creators to hold on to things because we're like, it's not there yet or it's not perfect. And I think the best thing you can kind of do is like have your vision. Don't ever settle for less, but put it out because you have such a high standard for yourself that even if it's not like eclipsing your standard, it's still incredible. Don't stop yourself from releasing stuff because you're a perfectionist. And I look back on some of that stuff and I feel that the Timeflies Tuesdays lost a lot of their kind of authenticity and realness, like you're in the room with me when we switched to digital SLRs
so funny.
Instead of iPhone footage.
Yeah.
And now, like, I have all these expensive mics around and I'll record a piano part using 2 iPhones. So it's in stereo. And like the idea is that the perfection and the industry standard perfect quality doesn't need to be what it is. Look at like Polaroid and like the old VHS type footage that everyone's using on their filters. Like, it's cool to not do what everyone else is doing, and it's cool to have something that feels raw.
Right. Yeah.
So don't be afraid of that.
I agree. And I think now with like all these apps like TikTok, you had Vine, all these things where it's just really quick produced content that literally people are editing their phones for videos, and it's like they don't give a shit anymore. And if you did shoot it with a red, the same video with the red and lights and all that stuff, sound guy, everything, it wouldn't. I remember when the day we met, that's what we talked about. Because I remember I was a nerd and into video. And then you guys were like, yeah, man. And I was like, we just shoot all this shit on our iPhones. I'm like, yo, there's this 7D that just came out. This is so cool. You guys should use this. And you're like, yeah, I know. We have one. We've tried it. But if we shoot it with our phone, it makes our fans feel like they're there with us. Yeah. And I remember walking away like, dude, these guys don't understand what they're talking about with quality. That doesn't make sense. And then I started thinking about it more. I'm like, that shit makes total sense. Like the idea of a fan feeling so raw that my mom could have been the one filming it. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter it's not about tricks and cameras and editing and all this shit. It's more about just being there with you. Sometimes it is. It's
not that shouldn't exist. Right. But it's just knowing that there is a place where don't not put it out because it's on your iPhone. Yeah. Don't not put it out because it's raw or whatever it is, because that as a viewer is what lets our imagination run wild. When you've taken care of everything visually, we can't even, as a viewer, think of anything else. Sometimes it's like, all right, you packaged it. Yeah. Perfect. Good job. Right. But sometimes when you leave the edges a little rough, we can kind of expand on that.
That's super true. When you guys started making your music, you know, exploring it, I know you've done a million interviews about like coming together and doing all this stuff through college and shit like that. What was it that kind of, you know, with you and Rez that connected for you, but then also made you feel like you guys passionately could create shit that you loved? And then all of a sudden, when did you notice like the bump? Like people started paying attention to it? Because you're in college or you're in high school, you're rapping at parties and all this shit, and it's fun. But I know how easy it is just like have an idea and someone connects with you and you hang out and you guys do some nerd shit on a computer and you have a song. So when did you feel like the switch? Like, you know what I mean? You do some nerd shit. Yeah. But like when did you feel the switch? When did you feel like people, like we should be a group, like we should make this thing really become.
So Rez and I were actually in a funk band together.
That's
and
tight.
He heard me freestyling at a party, and I was, you know, in my freestyles I always throw some melody and sing. He's like, you can sing, you can rap, we don't have a vocalist, we have a 6-piece instrumental band, just come down. And I came down and did Jay-Z like ain't no love and stuff like that, where it's like hip hop mixed with this blues funk sound. And I love blues too. That's one of my other big influences. But so we did that. We won a battle of the bands. We got to open for Ludacris, which was crazy.
What the hell?
Yeah. And we're in college at the time, and we were all music majors, but some of the other kids were like super jazz, like the wrong notes are the right ones, which I agree with, and there's a time and place for it. But Rez and I were super aligned and like, yo, we could do something if we did this. He was an unbelievable programmer, still is, you know, using Reason at the time, I think. and Pro Tools, and we just started making stuff. And one of the things we never finished, because in the point I just said before, like put shit out, we wouldn't put it out. We're like, it's not good enough. It's not finished. It's not good enough. It's not finished. The guy who's now our manager and still is today, or he became our manager from day one and still is today, he sent it out to a blog, and we were like, what the fuck? How could you send this shit out? It wasn't done. We never did the bridge. We never told you could do that. And it starts blowing up on the blog. And then we were like, oh, if they like
We're
that.
sorry, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, if they like that. And then we didn't leave the studio.
Damn.
If they like that, we can do this. And so we did. And then we started doing those Timeflies Tuesdays, and then we remixed one called Under the Sea.
Right.
But that's been a hard part, is like that freestyle to me is one of my worst freestyles. And it's probably one of my most viewed videos, where I'm just like, during the recording, the phone starts ringing, and I was just like, they call me like, I'm just ripping off the things. And that's the hardest part, is like, I work so hard on these lyrics, but then I have a freestyle where it's off the cuff and people are like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't
like,
predict
shit,
that. But then it's like, do you lean into that more for the next one because they like, you know what I mean? It's like, do you play to your audience, or do you? So
we did a mix of both, where we did interpolations and we did picking songs out of a hat and freestyling. But I think I've tried to, in my new music, on my project, have those really heady lyrics that make you think, but also recognize that like a lot of listeners, this is really tough for me to accept way back in the day, but people say it's like 95% of listeners don't hear lyrics. They just are there for the vibe and the beat.
I feel that.
And they can memorize them. Not that they don't hear the words, not that they can't memorize them, but that they're not like, oh, he said that. That's crazy. Like looking for meaning, which is where I'm up at, 5 a.m. trying to like, but how can that connect to the line in the first stanza? And it's like, don't get in the way of the vibe. And I think that's what I did well on one of my first releases, My Brother, where it just has this like young, epic, unapologetic, where it just has this bounce and vibe where like you don't always have to get in the way. And I admire that so much about the hip hop game, what you were talking about, where it's like one take and in. Like I would love to go do those freestyles and then fill in the cadences with words. I think we all do have a tendency to overthink, and I want to make it better, but sometimes the most simple, rawest form. And the advice I just gave, if you could listen to your own advice, then you'd be just set. But
I love that.
If I could just, you just have to somehow keep it that raw and keep it that like we did this live.
But it's so funny because you're talking to yourself from like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But what you did worked.
Yeah.
It's funny to hear someone that had success in their lane, and I do it all the time. Like, damn, if I would have just done this shit, I think I could have been the illest YouTuber, bro.
Yeah.
If I always say this too, especially with this podcast, because I say we have this podcast.
Aren't you killing it? I'm confused.
But I could,
Yeah.
I want an $8 million house in the hills because just cuz.
Yeah, just
those YouTubers.
Yeah.
But like this podcast, I'd start it and then I'd go on like a tour, or I'd start it and then I'd have like a 4-week work trip where I'm bouncing all over the place, and it stops, and then I go on a Beyonce and Jay-Z tour, and then it's done for like, it's just not
that name back there. You want me to pick it up for you? Or
no, don't worry about it. Leave it there. But go on tour, and it's like, plus Coachella, that was like 9 months where I was just not really with the podcast. I was like, hey, they'll understand. And then you come back and no one's there anymore because they forgot about it or they don't pay attention. So you start from scratch. And then as soon as we got back from this tour, I was like, yo, consistency is key. I'm like, that's so important to me, is just being on it with this. Every Wednesday, every Sunday, I'm going to release this podcast. And I was like, what if when school did Our Way Mondays, what happens if we would never have stopped? Like to this point right now, like literally year after year, just constantly every single whatever. Like what would have been the difference? Look at Russ.
Ask Russ.
Right?
Yeah.
Damn. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that I think is so key, and I think a lot of people but still I found success. But there's so many things that I want to change, and it's interesting hearing you like having the same thing, unreal success.
That was a full blackout. I just had a conversation with myself, like, "Yo, don't be afraid, put out the raw shit." And then I was like, "I want to make it perfect." Like, I'm literally, how do you not still struggle with that? We as humans are programmed to overthink and try to beat what we're doing and make it better. And it's almost like, don't fight the simplicity.
Yeah.
Let the easy stuff happen. Like we're talking about Russ puts out a song a week for how long now, or
so long.
Yeah, and it's
I don't know the actual facts on that,
But you go that long, you think he didn't have weeks where he was like, yo, this one's not as good as the last one. Who gives a fuck?
After a while, you're just like, fuck it, move on. You don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
You'll think about Under the Sea forever because that shit boomed.
Yeah.
But if that shit didn't boom, maybe all the other Tuesdays wouldn't have gotten any traction, and you guys would never been able to do anything that you wanted or put out original music,
Right.
because you couldn't do it. You were just sitting there trying to find some sort of, we did that shit. That's what we were doing.
Yeah.
We're like, oh cool, let's rap over this fucking, whoever just put out this instrumental or whatever,
Right.
and see if it picks up steam, because it already did well on the blogs. Maybe people will like this, and it's dope. And then nope, no one's listening, and you're just like, shit. But I did see the traction and how it was working, because we did like 16 weeks or some shit like that of
Yeah.
our Mondays.
It's hard, right?
It was dope, but it was cool because locally, yeah, it was hard as shit, because I did all the videos too.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah.
like locally, it did like well for that. And so that was like the beta test, and that's what proved my point for this. And Timeflies Tuesdays proves my point for this. And everyone else has fucking knocked off what you guys have done, which is a shit ton of people. You know what I mean? Like more than I can count on my hands.
Right.
Tons of artists. But to the point of vlogging, bro, like daily vlogging, like all this shit that YouTube does now, it's that on steroids.
Yeah.
Like they're just,
Yeah.
it's not musically, so it's a little easier. So it's like they have the ability just to constantly put out 10-minute movies every day.
People want to connect with something.
They
It's
need
the reason
it.
they hit up their best friend every day.
Exactly.
They want someone to connect to, and now your vlogger, whoever you're following, can be your best friend because you get to check back in on what they're doing. It's what makes Instagram so successful. It's why you can't take 4 weeks off from Black with No Cream, because we all want to listen to it. We all want to see what you're doing. You take
Right.
4 weeks off. We're like, well, where did he go?
Yeah, exactly. but even though you're working on something to give back to them,
Yeah.
they don't give a shit.
That's not how we consume.
Did you guys ever like stack up Tuesdays? Would you ever do that?
How do you mean?
Like try to get like 4 in the can so you were good for that month, you could focus on other shit?
Yeah, we did try that.
It's hard because you're not playing on relevancy anymore, because you guys could write, like you could rap about current events that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it kind of is hard.
I'm even trying to think of my solo project, how I want to bring my freestyles back, because I want to do it, but I don't know the best way. Jeez, listen to my advice earlier. Just fucking do it. Like,
yeah, just do it. What are you talking about? Like as far as like revealing the
don't
content?
know.
Like
Yeah, is it like, where does it live? What is it? Is it on it? Am I doing topics? Am I working with people? Like, do I hang out with you and you throw bags of coffee at me that have topics on them? Like, I don't know.
That'd be tight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd be dope. I think fuck it. Start on Instagram. Who gives a shit? That's what stories are for. Do
But
it
that's
24
like-
hours and
Freestyling is still my favorite thing in the world.
yeah, I know it is.
And I just need to do it more.
You just did it.
I do it all the time, like 20 hours a day.
But not on camera.
Right.
now.
I'm not. Yeah. I just need to do it more.
Interesting. When you guys were you went to, so you said it, all were in college for music. Did you
I
graduate?
didn't go there for music, but then it was all I was doing, so I switched my major.
What did you go to school for?
I went there for econ, and then I did major in music, minor in entrepreneurship, graduated, and then
Oh shit.
yeah.
So you guys started bubbling when you got out of college, or was that like this?
While in college,
While
we
in college?
were out playing shows on the weekends and then coming back.
What was that like?
Stupid. It was so weird. We didn't like our manager was there, but wasn't like, I'm a professional manager, I'll come on the road with you or have a tournament. It wasn't like that. I remember my first show, Brick Street, Ohio, and
You guys love Ohio.
Ohio loves us. We were like the house band for Ohio.
That's
Like,
dope.
yeah, it was dope. But Brick Street, Ohio, and he gave us like $1,000 cash or something, and I was like, you know, when you're up on the front of the stage, fans are like grabbing you. I was like, someone's gonna steal this out of my pocket. So I remember I saran wrapped it and put it in my shoe and performed the whole show with $1,000
Holy
cash in my
shit.
shoe. It was like, what am I doing?
Wow.
But those are like the memories. That's why, like, never forget where you're at right now, because this is the thing that makes you. This is what makes it. So when you do have the $8 million mansion in the hills from being a YouTube goddess, whatever you're trying to do, like, those are the fun moments. How am I going to get this video? I told my fans I was going to do it. It's 9:59. I said I was going to be out at 10. Now it's 10 minutes late. Everyone hates me.
Right.
You know what? They love that. They love that you're scrambling and you're like, I'm so sorry. It's uploading. It's almost there. Like all this stuff. The realness of that is, I guess, the thesis of everything I've said here is that don't lose the realness. The realness, the rawness, that shit is what is magical. And it can only happen from being real, which is why it can't be recreated.
Right.
Yeah.
Fuck. So true. I
Yeah.
love this shit.
Yeah.
This conversation has been a long time coming, because I love bouncing this back and forth with you.
Yeah.
It's just so cool to have grown like parallel to what you've been doing and
Right.
focus on it, and just I don't know how else to tell you how inspiring it is to watch what you guys did.
But it's crazy because you doing those videos and doing the videos, you doing those like weekly things and then doing the videos is kind of what brought you,
Yeah.
like, you fell in love with video.
Yeah, it made me have to do it, and it was just like, okay, cool, we'll do this. And I would just like put my other friends' names on there and directed by blah blah,
Right.
but I was just like, hold the camera here, do it like this, do this. And I know
Trial
exactly
by
what
fire.
it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fucking crazy. But like, as you guys explode, I remember just following you, I don't know, Twitter, Instagram, all this shit, just seeing it. And you guys were always like in the airport, blah, 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 going everywhere. I'm like, man, they're so big that they get flown. They have to fly to places. And I'm like, I've only flown like 6 times. And I remember, I literally almost tweeted this the other day. Like, I remember back in the day watching artists travel and thinking that was so cool. And now I'm like, fuck, I gotta die on this plane every time. But but still, I remember.
It's more fun than airport security.
Right.
That's what you were dreaming about.
Yeah, but I remember thinking it was so cool. I thought it was so cool. Like, you guys got to fly places. I'm like, holy shit. And then you had buses, and I was like, that's so cool. And then now it's like I fly so much, and I'm like, it's crazy to think that I used to want this so bad. And it's so cool to travel and shit. But at the same time, like, you go into those long days of traveling, and it's like, this motherfucker. But I remember looking up to, like, in so many different ways to what you guys did.
Crazy.
But like getting to, I mean, talk about that. Like, the group explodes. The Tuesdays are booming. You guys would travel and start doing tours. But how many were you guys doing? A handful of shows, like one-off shows, before you ever did a tour?
It was just weird. It was like such a kind of tipping point for the music industry, because it was right before streaming's about to take off,
right?
And everyone's struggling in the music industry because they're like, well, we can't make money on recorded music.
No.
So we need to do these 360 deals, which I'm sure people have heard about, where it's like, we need to take 20% of everything the artist has. We need to take 20% of their touring. We haven't signed a deal at this point, but they're coming to us being like, I'm driving my Volkswagen Jetta to 2,000 person shows. You know, like, they're like, you guys don't have original music that's like popping off. Like, you put it, our first thing, because we had, you know, an unbelievable fan base, they got us to top 10 on iTunes for like 28 minutes. But but it was like, but it wasn't like we were like, had the new radio single, everyone go check out. They're like, how are you selling out like 2,000 person venues and you don't have a song? Like, they're like checking the math, like, but our formula, like, where is it? Where'd it go? It's people, even if they didn't like the song we put out that Tuesday, they got to hang out with us, like we were talking about.
Right.
And so from seeing that, they were like, oh, I want to go hang out with these people I know. You know, you have a song on radio, they're like, oh, I can sing that song. We're going to go to an hour show to go sing that one song. Like, we've learned and we've seen, which is why Instagram has been so helpful for artists, is that you connecting to someone on a personal level, on a human level, makes the song more enjoyable, or makes the song worse for you, whatever it is. But you get to connect, and that's why you're showing up to the shows.
Right.
So the formula was kind of thrown out the window, because it was like, people were coming, they were like, that was one of our pet peeves in the beginning, but I learned to embrace it. People were like, Timeflies Tuesday, we love you. It's like, oh no, the band's called Timeflies. Tuesday is actually a day of the week, but I appreciate it. Yeah, and it was like, but shit. And they, you know, when we're performing the original songs, they're like some, you know, diehards who are singing the words, and everyone's looking up like, where was this?
Right.
I don't remember
How
this
did I
on
miss
the
this song?
YouTube on the Tuesday thing.
So weird.
It was just that you hung out with us every Tuesday. So when we were in your city, why the fuck wouldn't you come hang out with us? And it was such a unique situation. I forgot your question.
Did you guys, so did that set you up to, because I think, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like the time when we played with you guys, those first 3 shows, I feel like that was one of your first US tours.
Yeah.
Headline?
Oh my God. Yeah.
So that was the first tour.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So how many shows had you guys played before that? Because you kind of had your tour dialed in. It got better. It got bigger the next time you came by. But like that first tour,
we probably had like 15 under our belt.
Really?
Or 20 maybe.
So how was that working? You were just getting hit up by booking agents, or were you guys seeking out like regions?
Our manager actually always had his mind set on like this one guy, Matt Galley, who's a super agent, you know, like from Paradigm. Like, from Shawn Mendes to everyone, you know, he's a star. But so he eventually signed us, and then, you know, had us routing the tours better. But before that, it was, you know, driving a Jetta, get a flat tire, do this stuff. Like, shit, can we rent a van? It's just, but that puts the biggest smile on my face. Those are the most fun tours.
That was the best.
Yeah.
So was it, how did you guys handle, you're making money off this shit. You know what I mean? It starts to make money. Yeah. So, which is inspiration and obviously a drive to like keep going and also seeing a future for stuff. So like, how did you guys handle that, starting to be able to make money from this? Or did you sense that like, yo, if we keep this shit cracking, like this could eventually turn into a career for us. Like we can really make money off this shit. Like we're in demand right now.
I think that came later. You know, it's easy to look at the ride when you're like looking at it from afar.
Yeah.
But when you're on the ride, you're just kind of riding.
Right.
You know? And I feel like during it, we were just like, people like our music. We just made this much money. Let's go put it in. And we went and bought a $6,000 mic at B&N. Like everything we had, you know, like it was all just reinvested back in. Let's get a new laptop because with this Pro Tools always fucking crashes whenever we record this shit. Like, let's just keep putting it back in. Oh, you know, the tour, we should have video walls that cost way too much money, so
Right.
we lose money on the tour. Like, but the fans will love it. Let's do that. You know.
Yeah.
And so like it was always focused on that, and I'm sure you see that on the Beyonce tour and stuff like that, where it's just how can I give so much back to show how much I appreciate it and put so much into my craft, so it's like that to every eyeball in the room, it's like, oh, they eat, sleep, breathe this.
Right. No, I love that.
So that's what it was. You know, then looking at it from afar, all of a sudden you could make money in the music industry off recorded music.
Right.
And we were lucky enough to, you know, we got out of our label deal when we did, right before we put out the song Once in a While, which was the biggest like commercial success of our career.
Right.
And so
You got out of your
owned
label
that. Yeah, right before that.
Holy
like 2 months
shit.
before that. So we own that like record. So it's just the whole industry changed. So now that's when I look at this, when I'm releasing this new project, like, yeah, is it way more expensive for me to release this stuff independently? Like, I'm sure at home it looks like, oh, someone was nice enough to shoot a video for you. That's dope. Like,
Right.
no, that was expensive
Yes,
as fuck.
yes,
Like,
yes.
I'm investing in my project.
Yeah.
Working with producers, getting stuff mixed, doing all this stuff. It costs money, but I would rather spend the money and bet on myself. Like,
Then hand it over.
yeah, because I think that labels do a great job of pouring gasoline on fires. Mm-hmm. You know, if there's someone buzzing and you sign with a label, they're a bank, but they're also like, they're great at just spraying gas all over that fire.
Right.
Like, but I don't think they're very good at starting fires.
Right.
So I just want to start my own fire and then
See
I'll
what happens.
figure out, like, yeah, maybe I'll want to do, I'm not going to like corner myself and be like, staying independent for life. That's
Right,
like,
right.
I want to make the best move for me that allows me to let everything I'm working on be heard, and I want to connect with as many people as I can.
So Once in a While, was that the record that went on the radio?
That was on the radio. I Choose You was on the radio.
I Choose You was on the radio.
That was the first one on the radio. All the Way was on the radio for a minute. Life is all timing, as you know.
Yes.
And we had some crazy timing things. Like, Once in a While had this vocal drop, and I choose you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was this, that is a chop. Like, you can go check it out wherever. And I remember going to radio stations like, we don't know how we feel about like a vocal chop in like, as like a big part of the song. And now it's like, you can't turn on a song
hearing
without
that.
So that was like, okay, we're a little too early on that one.
Right.
Then All the Way comes out, and the week All the Way comes out, Island Def Jam, which was a legendary label, splits.
Right.
We went to go promote the song at a radio station, and the rep who's supposed to meet you there from the label was like, oh, I don't know if I work there anymore. And so it was like the week All the Way was supposed to hit radio, Island and Def Jam split. Timeflies is the last release on Island Def Jam. Now they're
Holy
separate labels,
shit.
Island and Def Jam. But you talk about life being timing, Island Def Jam, this massive thing with the radio department. We're so hyped for All the Way to come out. It comes out, they split, and that song just falls right through the cracks. And it still became the song of the World Series. It was using a trailer, a couple trailers, like My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2 and stuff like that, which was amazing.
That's so crazy.
But it's, when you hear people say life is all timing until you live it, it's a crazy thing.
So even though they split, they were still handling those deals, like getting in the World Series and
Kind
movie
of.
placements,
It
or was
like
that you
no
guys?
one was kind of handling the deals.
So how
like Island Def Jam split. Most of the hip hop roster went with Def Jam. Most of the non hip hop went with Island. Def Jam took the radio department. Island had no radio department. We were like, we signed with you guys to hopefully like bump our shit to radio. And
That's
they're like, We
insane.
don't have a radio department, so it's like,
So then when did you guys get out of it?
we put out one more album with them just for fun, and we just saw how the promotion and everything was going, and we had a great relationship with them. Great people over there. They were just like, they had a bomb dropped on them. They were like,
They're starting
"Shit,
over."
we don't-" Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we went to our guy David Massey, who now runs Arista. Shout out Massey, who's unbelievable, and just said, you know, this we signed with you under the like premise that this stuff was going to be worked to radio. Like, obviously you guys are kind of rebuilding. You don't have a radio staff,
Right.
so we can't do that part. And I think maybe it could be awesome if we could get out of our deal and focus on doing our next thing.
So is that complicated?
I mean, he didn't have to do that. We had a 4-album deal. We had put out 2 albums. He could have easily just said like, nah, you're here. That's
so
how artists
fucked
get
up.
shelves.
That's so fucked up.
Shelved, yeah.
That you know, they completely restructured their divisions and left you guys hanging when it was already proving that it was working. Like that was the third song that you guys were dropping? That was radio?
True. I think second song.
Second song? So
Yeah.
the first one worked.
It did all right. I wouldn't say like it wasn't like a top 10 record, but it was played it was remixed by like Fetty Legrand, all these people. It definitely had place.
Right, it had place. But it's like, okay, that works, and then they split and they just kind of leave you guys empty. It's so crazy.
It's crazy.
But he let you out.
But he let us out.
Were a lot of artists leaving, trying to leave?
I mean, you've heard it from everyone, like the label. How many songs have you heard where they're like, fuck the label?
Right.
And the thing is, the label, it's not like they're bad people or bad people working there. It's just the business of it is, you know, if they have a bunch of people who are like, hey, I do hip hop, and they're like, and the other guy they signed, they did hip hop, and they're both trying to put their album out the same month. The label's a business. They're like, oh, hell no, we're not doing that.
Right.
And they're like, but I told my fans we're putting it. Well, fuck that. We're not promoting two of the same like ideas. You got to wait 8 months. And now this guy's just like
chilling.
Now his next record is like, fuck the label, fuck you.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And it's like, yeah, I get it. You got, but that's the business side that no one wants to see.
When you hear those stories with like Frank Ocean and how they had signed him as a songwriter, and then he drops his tape and no one knows where it came from, and they're like, let's sign this guy, and they're like, he is. Yeah. But it wasn't for that deal, so you could put that out or whatever the story is. You know what I mean? You hear all these
but the things get shelved. That's why Prince, they weren't allowing him to release a record, so he became the artist formerly known as Prince and then released the record because it was a different artist in it. Like, there's the amount of stories of this is just...
You guys got so lucky.
We got so lucky that he let us out, and also who knew that that song was going to connect the way it did, and that was going to be the infancy of Spotify, and that was going to take off and be what it is today. Like,
and that's 100% yours. You guys.
We then, after it was buzzing, we licensed half of it for a period to Sony, and they did a great job promoting it worldwide, because then it, you know, that allowed us to tour Europe and have a...
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, so thrilled.
Yo, just wanted to take a quick second to tell you about our How to Charge a Client guide. It is now available, shopbwnc.com. You can get it there if you're a creator, if you're looking at leveling up and getting more bags when you are charging your clients, or you just don't even know how to go about doing it. We teach you how to do that in this guide. It's a 54-page guide. It walks through all kinds of different theories and approaches that you can take with your clients, your next clients, or future clients. So definitely dive into that. Check out the reviews that we have in our Instagram highlights on the Black with No Cream Instagram channel. You can see what people are saying that have bought it and found it very useful. So that's pretty dope. And hit up shopbwnc.com, and let's get back to this episode. It's crazy how much you need to, like, not necessarily you, and this is why a lot of people do sign to labels, because there's people that do not make music that are there that understand how to deal with that type of shit. But it's crazy, especially being independent right now. It's like you're starting completely from scratch.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I am.
You coming out as Cal and not Timeflies, you know what I mean? That word not popping up in people's search bars, it makes it harder to find you.
Yeah.
So you're starting completely from the beginning.
Square one.
But to have the background that you guys do and the experience is really cool to know that you know that stuff. But just even you guys as Timeflies, in that time to have to deal with, okay, we're out, we have this song, we need to do like a deal with someone so we can get the distribution we need. Like, to even negotiate that shit, it's like, how the fuck do you do that if you're just
great. Jared and Luke, our managers who are housemates in college, are brilliant. Like, they did an unbelievable job with that. And our philosophy, which should be all of your philosophy, is that hunger is better than, like, I don't want to say experience, but the person who's going to say, like, but look at all these other people I've worked with that have done this. Like, if you have someone who's hungry and ready to, like, stay up all night because he's working on that, that's the person you want on your team.
Hell yeah.
And so, like, our managers lived with us and they hadn't repped Lady Gaga before, but they were ready to
put in.
They were going to learn.
Yeah.
And so we all learned this. And also, this shit's changing every day.
Right.
Every single day. Like, there's going to be a new, you know, the way 4K is whatever. I can't speak your language, but I could do it in music. But the point is that, like, the way that's done might be different tomorrow. And so, like, the idea of the old 70s, like, no, that's the manager you want because he's the guy, like, that's out the window. If you're hungry and that person's willing to work, that's who you should be working with, because tomorrow it's going to be different and you're going to have to learn. You need the person who's ready to learn and not just say, this is the way it used to work.
Right.
Beyonce dropped an album in the middle of the night, told no one about it, broke the game.
Yep.
That's so fucking cool.
That's sick.
That would have been every label's nightmare in the past. Like, what do you mean we can't set it up? We need the single to set it up so that it does, 100 million in sales or whatever.
Yeah.
No, she dropped in the middle of the night, and those rogue guerrilla marketing plays for you guys making videos, for us making music, like, that's the way to do it.
Facts.
Yeah.
Super facts.
Be different.
Right. I like
Shout
that.
out Apple. Great slogan. Another great slogan? Nike. Just do it. Shit. Wow. Good work.
Keep them coming.
Wow. Cheers. Cheers on the coffee.
Cheers on that. I like that. Good call.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. That's so heavy. It's so crazy to think about. I remember...
But you're not thinking about the shit that you have to deal with, that that's innate to you. Like, I know this stuff because I've lived it. How much stuff, like, that your fans would love to hear about the behind the scenes of like video
100%.
stuff that I can't even imagine, like consent forms and this is approved, but now so and so didn't sign the waiver.
Yeah.
It's just the hardest thing is that you want the people consuming and you want the fans to think that it was just the easy, like I rolled out of bed and I made this song and here it is.
So many people make it feel like that.
But that's what you want. I don't want to put on a record and feel like
Depressed
this was 17 years in the fucking making and so-and-so's dog got sick and they're like all these behind the scenes things. I just want to like feel that. I want to feel that video. I want to do that. So for us, no one wants to talk about the dirty or the other side of the thing, but it's real.
Yeah.
And as all you guys creating, you're going to learn that all those fires, they shouldn't be seen as a deterrent. You just have to put them out and keep it moving and learn so that you can get your creative out.
Right.
But it is a necessary evil. You do have to know. Educate yourself. Read the books. Read the stories.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is power.
Do you feel like are you noticing a lot more musicians coming on podcasts and doing stories like this that are opening up?
I don't know. I feel like I've never spoken this candidly, but I feel like half the stuff I've told you I've never said in an interview. But I also feel like we're friends. I know you, and the landscape has changed, and I also don't want to be that. Not that I was ever like the canned answer guy, but like never trying to like.
You're not going to have this conversation on fucking Good Morning America.
Yeah, I did not. I did lie about my age on Good Morning America.
Did you?
I don't know what happened. I blacked out. She was like, "You're 22, right?" And I was like, "Yep."
You did?
And then all my friends were like, I was 23 at the time. They were like, "Why the fuck did you lie?"
Yeah, that's an easy mistake.
No, I consciously was like, I should correct you. And then I was like, no,
let it ride.
Yeah, TV's scary, man.
Yeah, I bet. What's that like?
TV's just like, it's so like, all right, here's a 12-second spot, and like your favorite part's coming at 13 seconds, and you're like, well, whatever, fuck it.
Right.
It's like, no, 12 seconds, that's cutting and going here. It's just so rigid and so detailed because they got sponsors, they got ad spots, that it's just like scary. There's so many people in the room, like speeding, camera one, all right, you guys ready? Let's go. And
you forgot everything that you thought about all night long about how you were gonna fucking kill this shit and just say something.
I get so scared that I'm gonna say something.
But I mean, what's that like for your family, seeing the success you've had in music? You know what I mean? To be able to carry you through life and to be able to fucking go on national television multiple times. You guys have done it all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, sorry. I was thinking about the comment I made earlier about like how you don't know you're on the ride while you're riding it, like you can't see it,
which I love because that's so true.
I think that's it. I think that while they like, how cool is this? Like, I was always so when I was in college, I worked for the Boston Red Sox, which was a dream job.
Oh yeah, I love
the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I'm super young for my age. I'll take the semester off because I'd love to keep working here. And they said, well, we're doing a renovation, but our parent company sponsors this tour up and down the East Coast. It's a Verizon Wireless tour. So I'm like 20 or 19, and I'm the Verizon Wireless tour correspondent on a tour bus with Boys Like Girls and like this.
Really? So it was like a mini show or a festival?
No, it was a tour. I rode on tour for 2 months with this band, and I had to go meet with student, like, what is that, like the programming board, and say like, hey, where's the most foot traffic on campus? And then call the Verizon street team in that city, and they'd come and set up stands and be like, 4G, LTE. Like, And so I rode on tour, and I was like, that
was like your first experience.
Yeah.
You're 20 years old.
I was like, I love this. And I think, I don't know. It just, like, I watched people who were just like, wanted to live the rock star mentality and just be like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, my life's dope. Not anyone I named. But from that point on, and also it's just who I am, but I was always going to never let anything give me a big head. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe in moments I should have not been an asshole, but had a bigger head, because I'm the self-deprecating, humble guy.
Right.
Which is, I think, a great quality.
Yeah.
But I also think you should own your shit. And I'm just starting to, I feel like, get better at that, where I can talk about my project and be like, yo, it's fucking great.
Right.
I am so fucking excited. In the past, I've been like, if you get a chance to listen, I think you'll really enjoy it, where it's like, if Steve Jobs came out and he's like,
I think
we have this new thing that if one or two of you guys get it, I really think you might enjoy it. No, he came out there in a black turtleneck and was like, do you guys want to change the world? Because I just did, you know? And
Yeah, he did.
yeah, I do. What is it? I want to buy it. And I think we all need to do a little bit. You know, there are the people you know who it's like, God, the ego on that fucker. Like, how are you self-promoting yourself so hard? But we could all be better at being like, yo, this new stuff I'm making, I will confidently say, those first 2 songs, I love them. The next 2 I'm releasing, fucking insane. Like, my project, I'm so hyped. It's going to do amazing. I know that. I believe that. And I'm saying that kind of thing for the first time. Where in the past, I wasn't. So I think when family members, to go back to your question, when family members or people are like, you're on TV, all this stuff, it was just like, oh yeah, check us out. We're at like on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Like, oh, like this cool thing. Yeah. But if you get a chance to watch, it's like, no, that was fucking awesome. I wish I like
your aunts and uncles are like, I don't know what Cal's up to, but I think he's been traveling around with his friends playing some music. That's like the epitome of my life. That's so fucking funny.
And when you're on the ride, you don't see it.
It is. I like that. When you're on the ride, and I talk about this, I was thinking about this the other day because I feel like it comes down to like what's interesting is exposure and what the exposure does for people. Because as soon as a Trippie Redd or fucking name any artist that booms out of nowhere from SoundCloud or whatever, next thing you know, they have the craziest fucking grills, or they buy whatever, they have a cool car, they get all this, and it's like, damn, it's like you associate the blow up with the money, and the money equals all the things you ever thought you ever wanted or didn't even know you could get. You get that shit. And right now it's like you associate, I think in our community of film and this whole shit, especially like I assume in music, because all my musician friends that are starting from it's very hard to make a living doing that shit. So majority of what we talk about on this is like how to make a living, or how to not make these mistakes, or how to do this. And I was thinking about the other day, I'm like, man, it's so crazy that I didn't give a fuck. I didn't have to give a fuck, or didn't give a fuck about the money side of the world. You know what I mean? And
until you get out to this town, it feels different.
It's expensive out here.
No, but not just that it's expensive. You see the pinnacle of your industry everywhere. And that was a really hard thing for Timeflies when we moved out here, because in New York, we were giant fish in a small pond. Like, who's making music? I go to a bar, they're like, you make music? Oh my God, tell me everything about that. You go out here, you're like, I make music. They're like, yeah, so does everyone, bro.
Everybody.
Chill the fuck out, you know?
Yeah, the bartender's making the song.
And then it's like, well, who lives in this town? And it's like, fucking
everybody.
Elton John has a house here.
Yeah.
From Elton John to Justin Bieber, like, everyone's here.
Right.
You're like, who makes videos out here? Like, I don't know. Do you know who Ron Howard is? Like, It becomes like this, like, looking up, like, how do I get there? The fact that you even said $8 million house in the hills, like, you didn't know about that. You didn't know what the hills were when you lived in Iowa.
No.
The dartboard, the bullseye keeps like getting a little further away.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, because your goals should always be unhittable. If your goal is something that's like, I can accomplish that tomorrow, that's not a goal. That's like tomorrow's task. The shit should be like, I don't even know how to get there, but I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah. Dave, he's got so many fire fucking little snippets. You just keep...
Dog, it's the coffee. I'm too jacked up.
I'm cool with that. We should feed it to you all day. We need to help you write a guide for us. Fuck.
I'm too jacked up.
Nah, I think it's so true. I remember there was a time, just to tie in schooled with that shit, we had a song with my connection with EA, because I've gone on to direct a bunch of shit for EA and like work with them and all this stuff currently too. But way back, my homie Marcus, who got me into rapping originally, we worked in car wash together. This dude now is the head of social at EA, all games. We should have you talk to him. Yeah, but he gave me a pack of beats. That's how I met Bai. Me and Bai started rapping over him, whatever. That turned into school. And I remember, like, down the road, we had gotten hit up by Marcus because he started working at EA. And he's like, yo, Madden 15 is coming out, and we have the trailer. You guys could be the song. I can get you on that. And, like, write a song that kind of fits the vibe of, you know, football or whatever. Right. And so we're like, fuck. And we like got hyped, and we spent all this time crafting this record. Me about this, it was like our best song we ever wrote. Yeah. And he's like, it's gonna happen. I think he even showed me cuts with this shit. And then the last minute, his boss came in and was like, oh, flip that with this like country record. And
timing, life is timing.
Yeah, but I want to hear your opinion on this of keeping your mouth shut. We just talked about this the other day. We have these things called morning roast on the podcast where we like deep dive into little topics. And one of them, I don't know what it's called, but like the idea of slow your roll, because a lot of shit comes and goes really quick. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you guys have felt that. Me feeling that was one of my first blows, and how it kind of fucked up schooled for us. Like everyone kind of was like, well, shit, we shouldn't trust Marcus's word anymore. Not that his word isn't good, but like the whole EA thing maybe just doesn't have the pull there. Right. And let's not worry about it as much. And then the EA things kept coming, and we kind of ignored it. And I saw it working for other people. So I was like, fuck. But we went out to the bar. We're gonna be at ESPN tomorrow. Our song's gonna be the whole town in Cedar Falls is going crazy for us and shit. And then it doesn't happen, and you just look like a fucking idiot. Have you?
Okay, I want to say a piece of advice,
Please,
to everyone watching.
Yes.
Get hyped about the things you hear are going to happen. Don't tell everyone about the things that are going to happen. In this town, in this industry that we're in, minds change overnight. Guy shows, you make a music video for whoever. She shows her boyfriend. He's like, oh, you kind of look corny in this thing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this thing that was coming out isn't coming out.
Yeah.
Minds change. Someone's going to all of a sudden listen to a country song. It's like, ooh, this might be dope. And you got fucked because of it. Get excited. This isn't to say don't get excited, but it's not real until it comes out.
Yes.
And you have to remember that, and that's not a bad thing. That's just the way it is. And it's hard. I've written songs for a ton of artists, big artists who the song's coming out, and then you see their album drop and the song you wrote's not on there. That's just the way it is. And you're going to learn that lesson the hard way, and the sooner you learn it, the sooner you learn not to be affected with it. Don't tie like negative emotions to something like that, because it's not a negative. You're in the right places. You're in the right circles. You're doing the right thing. So just keep plugging away at it, and it will happen. But don't be the person who, we've all had that moment.
Yeah.
You go to the bar, shots on us.
Right.
We're going to be in EA Sports, and then you're not there.
It'll happen to everybody. You'll feel it. But that for sure, just chill.
I'll take it a step further. It won't not happen. It's
Right.
going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Several times.
Yeah. Even if you're the biggest person in the world.
Yeah.
Your favorite actor has filmed a giant movie that they've spent 3 months of their life going out to do, and it never came out.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That's just the life of like a creative is these ebbs and flows. Is these like, one of my goals, I write my goals on the mirror January 1st of every year. I started this like 2 years ago. I watched this documentary with Emmitt Smith.
Yeah? What's it
You know
called?
Emmitt Smith?
No.
He's like the best running back in the NFL of all time.
Okay.
The Dallas Cowboys. So it's this show on NFL Network called like another sponsor. Thank you, NFL, for all the money you give us.
Thank you, guys.
Called A Football Life. And it details these people's lives. And I love watching it because it's like, these are the most successful people. And, it's all the same themes we're talking about. Timing and how do you get there. But one thing Emmitt Smith did, who is the current all-time rushing record for the NFL.
Damn.
Like, no one has run more yards than him in the NFL, in NFL history. And what he did was he wrote his goals in his locker at the beginning of every season and had it there so that he couldn't escape his goals. Because some people, when they set their goals, they feel like they're too high and they're afraid of them. He had to stare at it every day. I'm going to be the rookie of the year. He did that. I'm going to be this. He did that. And the one that was on the bottom of the list every single year was all-time NFL rushing record, which he'd need to play like 15 years in the NFL to even accomplish, even having a crazy season every year. Well, he did those, and he finally got to cross that off his list at the end of his career. And so I was inspired by it, and I write my goals on the mirror, and I just see it every day. And so I think you just have to accept what the goal is, keep your head down and do it, and realize that the shit we just talked about, the person wanting to have a country song, that's out of your control.
Right.
No part of your universe can control that decision.
Yeah.
So do the shit you can control, and just keep your head down and do that, and have intention every day. Like if you want to make it as a YouTube vlogger, don't take 5 weeks off from vlogging. Like that's, you wake up and that's what you do. Even as many of your friends who are like, you can't make it doing that. As many as your family members who say like, yeah, they're like, if that was a good idea, don't you think someone would have done it? That is just like, everyone's going to say that. People are afraid. We have the scariest job in the world, and that is we put ourselves out there to be critiqued.
Right.
It's a scary fucking thing, but if you're with it, you got to be with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Shit, that's so true.
It's heavy.
It is heavy.
It's a crazy thing that we do, and before something's out, you're just sitting there. Is it good? Should I be doing this? Is it good? Is it? And then it goes out. You hit that go live button, and people hit you up like, "Yo, this is dope." You're like, "Yeah, I knew that. I knew that. I knew that the whole way."
We all talked about how good it was.
Yeah, we
Don't worry
knew
about
that.
it.
I didn't lose any sleep over
And then you
that.
see that one kid we have one guy that dislikes every black or girl, dislikes every Black with No Cream video.
Shout out to you. You're
Mike,
probably
what's
living
going
a
on
good
with you?
ass life
Yeah, what's
over
going
there.
on with you
Just
over
super
there?
happy and positive.
God damn it. At least comment. Talk some shit.
Yeah.
Dislike button's so trash.
Well, I think one of the most fascinating things about like social media and the YouTube comment section, which is one of the like most disdainful places on earth,
Yeah.
is that for some reason, for a creative, No, I think this is actually everyone in life. Everyone in life, the negative comments and the negative noise is the loudest by about 1 million. And what I mean by that is you can get 1 million times someone has told you, you look amazing, you look amazing, you look great when you wear this, you look great. And someone says like, red is really not your color.
Right.
You're probably not wearing red ever again.
Nope.
That comment sticks with you.
Yeah.
It's a flaw in our human nature that we see that one thing. The amount of times I saw like, I miss when you used to rap, and then it would influence me. I don't know how I could let it influence me, but the next time instead of singing on that, I was like,
bar.
No, people like it when I rap like spit hard.
Yeah.
People don't. This one fucking guy
Yeah.
said this, and it sticks in your brain. Negative voices are the loudest. It's a hard thing to like.
Yeah. It's fucked up, and I think that they should. YouTube could. I mean, so many kids kill themselves over this shit, which is sad as fuck because it gets in everyone's head. But it's like, why? If that's a problem, YouTube should just tie everything to your driver's license and make that motherfucking profile public as shit, so everyone knows. So you're afraid to talk because that's going with you to work. That's going with you into the future when you want to become the president.
But I don't think you can't wait for someone to fix that. Like bullying,
No, it's never gonna happen.
Bullying has been around since the beginning of time. Jesus was bullied, you know?
Right.
Right? Like, that's going to happen, and you just need to be bigger than that and accept. We've all heard this in a million movies and everything, but the person who's bullying you has more issues than you do. There's something going on, and they're having a hard time with it. But just you putting something out, you putting content out, you posting something,
You already won.
is such a big thing that you're not giving yourself a pat on the back for. So when you said your videos weren't working, you put it out.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they started to work. You put it out. Mm-hmm. That's fucking hard.
What was one of your goals that you wrote for last year that you accomplished on your mirror?
I wanted to become really good at guitar.
Yeah, I saw you ripping on that shit on the iHeart story.
Yeah. I'm getting better at guitar, yeah.
Yeah, nice. It's hard as fuck.
I wanted to become a really good vocal producer, and I produce a lot of the vocals that are on my project. I'm brushing my teeth. I see this thing. I'm like, oh, right. I can't hide from that. So then I go upstairs and I just where my studio is, and I like grind on it. I don't know. There's a bunch of like little ones, but they're happening. Some of them don't, but you don't get discouraged. You know?
When you guys started focusing on solo projects, did you guys have conversations with each other, especially as a group? Because I know you're very cautious on making sure that people know Time Flies isn't dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I think it's because everyone just assumes like, oh, everyone just split up and blah, blah, blah. They hate each other or whatever.
Well, everyone's like, well, we're on hiatus. Like,
yeah.
Rez was and still is one of my closest friends. We talk all the time. I had a 40-minute phone call before I got here. Like, that's the guy who I started this whole thing with. Like, I've learned so much from him. I'm sure he's learned a lot from me. Like, we've collaborated together. And so we always communicated this, and I had told him this was something I want to do, and he was like, cool, I want to do, he's working on his solo thing too. Like, he's producing, and so I think, we just like have each other's backs. It's nice. It's not like there was like this like drama at 9. There will be like, there's no backstabbing. There's none of that. It's just like we want to see each other succeed, and we both love making music. So any way that can happen is a win for everyone.
Yeah. So you decide to take the path of solo, just doing Cal as Cal. What did you see as like an immediate like challenge to face as doing that, or did you feel like it was just a freedom to experiment and try some shit that didn't have to matter if it like pleased Time Flies fans? You know what I mean?
I wasn't thinking from the fan perspective. I was thinking, I was in a 50-50 band and I just talked about, I have a great relationship with Rez, but when you're creating stuff together for that many years, like, you start to know each other's tendencies, but also like there's stuff that he doesn't like that I did, and there's stuff I don't like about his production that I would say, and then so we would make it this other way. But now he gets to do whatever the hell he wants. Now I get to do whatever the hell I want. So it was more like exciting, like this could be anything. Right. And I wanted on my project to have something that embraced those classic rock and hip hop roots, where the choruses felt like these big, classic rock almost moments of, a lyric that was super honest. Like my brother told me I'd never be as young as I am right now, and that fucked me up. Because it did, hearing that. And, and then I wanted to, that drops into this hip hop moment. And so I I wanted songs that sonically kind of almost felt nostalgic, but then took you on like a what the fuck just happened?
Right.
Like I want to shock you a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just got to have my own vision and do it. And I've met so many people that I was able to connect with them and start working on this project. And one of the things we talked about is, you know, small fish, big pond, but it can be scary how talented the people are in LA, but it's also can be your best asset because you get to work with all them.
Right.
So I know so many songwriters and producers who I'd worked with on stuff in the past, and now I just get to hit up and say like, yo, you free on Thursday? And we make a song.
So cool.
And that's just the dream.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And just being in LA, the ability to bump into like the next big person or your idol, whoever it is,
right,
it's so easy to do.
But that's a good lesson in treat everyone with respect.
Right.
And like there are levels to LA. Like this person's killing it. They're up here. Them not being able to hang out with you tomorrow isn't like a fuck you. It's like they're up here and they're working their ass off. But also treat him with respect because he might be here tomorrow.
Right.
And that's not why you should treat him with respect, but treat everyone with respect because that's what you should do. That's as human beings. Right. We owe it to everyone.
Yeah.
But also never be a dick to anyone because everyone is going to have their moment. There's no timeline for success. You may think like, oh, my guy hit it and he's 21. I'll never fucking make it. Well, at 35, you might be the biggest filmmaker in the history of the world. Yeah. So there's no timeline on success. Don't put that pressure on yourself and don't create bad relationships because of it.
Right. I like this. So for my brother first, what'd your brother think?
He was like, I said that?
You're like, nah, it's just fake shit.
I was like, yeah, you did, man. I was like...
When did he say it to you?
I was calling him when I was talking about doing the new solo project, and I was like, I don't know, I'm just nervous. Like, built this incredible thing with Timeflies, and not that it's the end, but like I'm scared to go do this other thing, and you know, the fear, the self-doubt, all that stuff we've talked about. And he was just like, well, you'll never be as young as you are right now, just like as an off-the-cuff comment. And then I kept talking, and just the way I am, I was like,
type that
notes,
motherfucker into your phone.
Like, yeah. And then I'll look at notes at the end of the day, and I'll start like extrapolating on those ideas. And it was just such a, when something so simple can be so impactful, that's where brilliance is, because we hear stuff all the time. How many times have you heard a phrase and you're like, yeah, we get it, and then one day you hear it and you're like, true. Right. Certain things just click with you, and that one just clicked with me, where it was like, that should announce my project. Like that is what I'm about, is that I want to do this right now.
Right.
Fuck everything else. Who cares what I've done? Who cares where I'm at in my life? Like, I want to do this.
Right.
So I'm going to do it.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Shit.
Yeah.
So you did the visual. You did a music video for this.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because by the time this is out, we have a video that breaks down how...
And shout out 𝐅𝐻𝐋𝐋𝐖 and everyone who worked on that, because they are like geniuses.
They went ham. It's crazy hearing how they actually like really conceptualize the video. That's what the whole YouTube video is. So if you haven't checked, go check it out. It's on our YouTube channel.
Check it out. Is it like a direct, like swipe out, so sideways, down? No, whatever. Don't swipe.
We'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, just click things.
But yeah, they were here yesterday, so we sat down right here and we talked about like what went into it and their conceptualization of how they made it and what your vision was for it. So coming to it visually, you know, you had all these old, it's cool because in the video there's also old VHS footage of you and your brother and like you guys as kids. What was your
digitizing old movies? Yeah,
it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
What was the goal? Like, what was your goal for it, being able to show it? Because it's so cool, because it's like almost so simple but so complex at the same time, because you guys went so ham on fucking VFX that it was like crazy. But it's just you performing. You know,
I wanted it to kind of look like what I said, which was that there is this life. All of us have a past. That's how we're here now. So all of us have this. That should never be a deterrent for you doing things in the future. And so I wanted to see all these visuals and be like, all of that makes up me now.
Yeah.
Here I fucking go.
Right.
Not like there's all this shit that's happened, so like, well, I should just lay back and like kind of coast.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want to attack. And there's this scene with infinite regress where there's like a bunch of the frames pop up.
Yeah.
And the frames and the cracked mirrors are all about the identity crisis, you know, like finding the identity. But those frames show up and you have like this time warp, like I'm going in a wormhole on the side of all this old footage, and it's just like, it was just like, here I am now.
Yeah.
The past is who I am now in the present, and I'm taking that shit to the future.
So what's the meaning behind the cracked picture frame?
The cracked frame is and maybe we'll become uncracked at some point. But the idea is that I, as a singer, as a rapper, as a songwriter, as a musician, as a vocalist, as everything, I feel like I chameleon a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I just want to like unpack the question. I'm kind of learning as you are, but like who am I? I think we're all learning that every day, but like who, if I could define me, who is it? That's always such a tough question when people say, who are you? Or like another tough one when they're like, what does your music sound like? Or if you're going to drop a new, like, what does the new video look like? It's like, I don't know, watch it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like, I want to show you. The cracked mirror is that when I look in the mirror, I'm not sure exactly who's looking back. There is like, I see this version and I see this version and I see this version and I see this version. I'm trying to make it all one person.
Shit.
Yeah.
The identity crisis.
Yeah.
That's tight.
I'm fired up, and like I remember whiteboarding that video with OB, and he'd be like, so we'll have these hanging frames, and then like, and I'd be like, what? How are you gonna do that? And he's like, yo, don't worry, I got you, dog.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
and then right after that, he texts me, do you know anyone that does VFX?
Yeah,
I said,
right.
check out Kavika, and then that's done.
Do
Isn't that wild?
that. Be like OB, and be
But you
like
know
this
what,
guy,
bro,
but where it's like, figure it out.
How crazy is that though? Think about how funny this shit is. I remember, what shows did we? I don't know. Some show we did with you guys, and we played that shit afterwards because OB was on tour with you.
Oh, should shout out. He was our videographer on tour, and
Yes.
now did the new music video. Love it. Full circle shit.
But while I remember we were going, and he was like, yeah, I do the video. And I was like, that's cool because I'm fucking nerd too. And I'm rapping. And I'm like, we're friends with these guys. We did other shows.
Yeah.
But he kind of ignored me. Mike, you low-key, he kind of, just didn't talk to me. And I was like,
Is
what
that
the
true,
hell?
Mike?
Well, it
What
was.
did we say about the whole...
But I don't think he meant it. I think he was just tired, and it was like, you guys have been on tour for a minute.
Yeah,
and so he was like, yeah, whatever. So he didn't talk to me that much. And then the next show, we were walking. So, okay, all right, quick story time.
Take me.
These are two shows that I played by myself. This is me doing my first time being like an original or solo artist, because school had been doing so much shit, and then everyone was kind of all over the place with their own thing, and I was starting to make my own music, and you guys hit us up to play a show. Or you guys you played at my university, and you guys were like, oh, I asked the university, I'm like, hey, can we play this show? And they're like, nah, because you guys just played like a Hoodie Allen show that he opened up like 2 months before that. We got to find some other local artists. I'm like, there's no other fucking local, like, we're the guys. And then they hit me back and like, hey, actually, well, we need to now because Timeflies requested you guys to play. And we're like, tight.
That's
See,
what's up.
motherfucker?
Yeah.
And then, but we weren't like doing anything, and I was nervous as shit because I'm like, well, I've been working so hard on this like solo stuff, and I want to try to like release that, but I wasn't ready for that yet. But I need to do it, and I had a whole conversation with Bai and those guys. And I was like, yo, I know we haven't really been making music. I've been making a ton. I want to try this. Like, I want to try to do my own show. And they were like, fuck it, go for it. And we did it, and then it was 10 days till we had to play that show. I had no fucking real music made. I was like literally stitching like 2 verses from different songs.
Just hearing this.
Yes.
Yeah.
My mom gets her breast cancer back like 4 days in, tells me this shit. I'm like, oh fuck. Another thing, level to this. She came, she saw your show, she watched it, she was going ham. And I like got in-ears for the first time. I'm trying to learn how to do that. We were trying to experiment. I was playing drums. I was like, I really want to make this cool.
Yeah.
First show, terrified as shit. Whatever, do it. It was okay. It was fun. You guys ended up hooking me up with like your in-ears. Like you guys, someone gave me your in-ears. So my show was trash.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So then I go play a show. Terrified. We have like a month in between. I come to LA, and that's the first time I ever worked with my homie Andrew, who directed Chris Brown's doc.
Okay.
And brought me in, and me and him co-edited the film. He was shooting a Chris Brown video with 7th Streeter, and like brought me in, and I got to do BTS for it. It was a great time, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We played the next show with Time Flies. After that, it was me and you guys again. I'm way more comfortable on this. It was the best show of my life. And it was the last show of my life. It was in Ames.
Last show of your life?
Last show of my life was with you guys.
Or whatever?
No, it was a
Ames.
college show. It was like a college show, I think.
Okay.
I don't remember, but it was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It was like the biggest crowd ever, and I don't know. I was just terrified and shit. But it was dope. And we were hanging out with him afterwards. We all went out for a drink. And I was like, man, I was just in LA and I worked with this production company and I got to shoot Chris. And he was like, oh, I know that production company. And like, it kind of clicked to him. He's like, cool, you kind of get like where I want to go with my shit. Like you just got to experience some real shit that I'm working towards. And so that's when we like became boys. I was like, all right, tight. Like I got him that way or whatever. And then fast forward to now, it's like, it's crazy to see how full circle everything has gone where me and him are homies and he's killing shit. We're all working with the same people. Like
that's how it should be.
It's wild.
That's how it should be.
What a fucking rodeo, bro.
Yeah, except now we're on the ride and we can see it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
We have more experience that we recognize.
What kind of car would you say gives you the most view that you're riding in?
What kind of car?
Yeah, because like sometimes those like Hummers got those tiny ass little windows, so you can't really see as much. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Prius might have a a window.
No, you gotta have the
Prius?
top down. You gotta see everything.
You're right. So convertible.
Yeah. Aston Martin DB6 from 1967 Bond car. Shout out. Check it out.
Okay.
Yeah. You can buy it now. It's like only $3.6 million.
Oh, you in the market?
I've looked at it. Definitely not in the market. Wish I was. Yeah, that's a smart place to.
All right, but you got married.
I did get married.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fucking what? I mean, was that awesome? You guys had like illest photos. Where'd you get married? In Colorado or something?
It was, Colorado.
That shit looked incredible.
Wait, hold on. I have to say,
yes.
my session started 7 minutes ago. What do I do?
Oh, yo, I'm sorry. We'll wrap it up.
No.
Tell him we're wrapping it up. He got married. His wife's beautiful. I just scared the shit out of them at the mall the other day, Westfield Mall, where we met. I scared the shit out of you at a cheese factory.
Shit, I don't know. I like she's the most supportive person. Like she's like text me in the middle of the day, like, you're doing amazing, baby. I just like keep doing you. Find the positive people in your life and keep them close. But obviously I love her. Right. And we got married and I surprised her with a song at our wedding actually that I'm going to be releasing on my project. That it's like,
I saw everyone posting like Instagram stories and it was like snippets of that shit. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Perks of dating Cal, I guess, or marrying him. What? All right, so you gotta go. You gotta leave. I'm gonna bang. This is it. I'm wrapping it up. Okay, I can wrap it up. Okay. It's all good. We'll do part 2 later down the road. Okay.
I'm down for part 2 through 17. By the way, I've loved this shit.
No, I'm with it. Yeah. I have like a group on Patreon, and they all get to ask questions. So I'm gonna let you just quick answer their questions real quick before we wrap it up. That's it for episode 118 with Cal. If you enjoyed the Q&A experience, if you ever want to be a part of that, you can do that by becoming a Patreon member, patreon.com/blackwithnocream. We ask your questions to our guests, as well as let you hear the episode 1 week in advance. So if you're trying to do that, hop on it. This episode is fire. If you want any links to Cal and you want to find him on the internet, we put all that shit in the description. Make sure to download all of his records and play it on loop so he gets more plays every single month because the guy deserves it. You feel me? That's it. I don't know. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel and leave comments and let us know what you think in on YouTube, or if you're on iTunes or Spotify, whatever, go find a way to leave us a review because we would really like to know what you think about this shit. And I think that helps other people know what they can expect when they listen to these episodes. Just like how you go and look to see if the steakhouse is fire or not because you're going to try to take a chick or your man's there and the reviews say that it's fire. You go get the steak. So it's the same thing. So definitely leave a review. All right, we out. See ya. Peace. Bye.